Hello and welcome to Galactic Historian. Welcome to the Astropub. My name's Paul, Berserker01, Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender here at the Astropub. Your space bar at the end of the which. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. How you guys doing? Big stream. We've been raising money for Stack Up. I'm going to continue this until the end of the week just to see if we can't make that $500 goal. Remember, when we reach that $500 goal, I'll be giving away a tonk. But thanks to CIG, we're also giving away a Cutlass Blue, exclamation point Cutlass in chat on Twitch. I'll put the, let's do Cutlass. Yep. For those of you guys on, not on Twitch, for those of YouTube, and for those of you guys who are watching this on YouTube as well, put that up there as well. Dreamwrath, how you doing, buddy? Whew. Welcome one and all. Welcome one and all. Zefro, Citizen Crom, Scottish, Aimless, Dreamwraith. What we have here? Ed, Fantex, Dano, Star Citizen 890 Jump, Bag and Aegis P, First Wave. Nice. Nice. So for those of you who haven't done this before, we talk about lore, we talk about the game. This is kind of more of a general forum to hang out and discuss about the game and other stuff like that as well. For those of you guys who are on our Patreons, there is a thread on Patreon, which I will bring up, that if you guys want to have anything specifically asked, you guys will get priority because you do pay for this. Ghost asked, would you mind going over the UES Olympus and its fate? And I do not mind doing that. So, let me pull up my notes on that. UEES. There we go. I just remember what system it is. The Null system on Ashana. Okay. So, in 2571, the UEES Olympus, a ship that was famous for its actions during the end of the, I believe the First Tavaran War, was being led into the Null system, which is a system that we now know borders with the Vanduul. On Null, there was a group of pirates currently being led by a Tavaran named Neskis, and this system is an outlaw system. And so the Olympus is a Bengal-class carrier that was sent into Null to chase down these pirates. The pirates led them on a chase into the atmosphere of Ashana, and the captain got super greedy going after them. As a result, he went too far into the atmosphere to pull out of the atmosphere, and the Olympus careened into the planet, crashing and being destroyed. Now, it wasn't fully destroyed. Its wreckage is still intact. In fact, it is the landing zone for Null. So when you go to the Null system, the Olympus is the official city of the Null system. It's been completely repurposed by the pirates to become its own city, because it's the size of a city. It actually sticks straight out of the ground at kind of like an angle. It's like the Leaning Tower of Pisa almost. And the entire superstructure has been retrofitted to become a city. Now, because of how bad this was, the Navy actually didn't send anybody else out to Null because it was a huge scar and they wanted to figure out what was going wrong first. Now, the Olympus Cap, which is the Combat Air Patrol, was a group of stiletto fighters. These are light fighters that I do not believe were built by Aegis, but they were built by another company. They could have been built by Aegis. But the stilettos were famously not very well thought of in the UE Navy. The UE Navy's main military doctrine focused around medium and heavy fighters. That's always what they've been focused on. Or they, back then at least. They've moved back to it recently, but essentially the light fighters were there because they were the only ones who could chase down the lighter pirates. So when the Olympus went down, they were stuck. And the recordings of their last fight with the pirates, outnumbered, outgunned, was infamous. It's the fall of Wake. It's the fall of the battle at Thermopylae. Last desperate stand to try to let those who could escape the falling ship to get them out of the system. So the last stand of the Olympus Cap became the basis for a new military doctrine based off of light fighters, and it was all shaped around the Gladius. So the Olympus, the fall of the Olympus, is the direct inspiration for the creation of the Gladius fighter. And ever since then, the Gladius was the premier light fighter in the UEE. It is only very recently that other companies like Anvil and Drake have tried to supersede the success of Aegis in that mind. So it's Gangs of Stanton Day. Sort of. I wrote it and I recorded it. I just got to edit it and I'm going to release it on Thursday. So I'm going to start releasing them on Thursdays just because it's a kind of good window between this on Tuesday, Saturdays for Captain's Table and that kind of stuff. So Aero Gang, yeah. How long have the Bengals been operational? We don't know, but likely the Bengal has been operational in some way, shape, or form since the UPE, since the First of Arn War. Thanks, Johnny B. Yeah. Fun little story. In fact, I did an entire lore episode on the Gladius, the history of the Gladius, which talks about the fall of the Olympus and the last stand of the stiletto fighters. So. Into a Nautilus. That's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. I think the Nautilus is gonna. It's one of those. It's one of those I think undervalued ships. It's essentially a Polaris without a fighter bay, which is fine. Hey, Mecha Man, how you doing, buddy? Thick. Sorry, Horseman. And Johnny B, welcome, guys. Welcome. But yeah, the recording for Gangs of Stanton for the next episode of Galactic Historian, I'm going to try to do once a week. I may fall down here and there, and I might take a break here and there for it. But what I've noticed is if I do one Captain's Table a week, if I do one of these a week, and if I do one Galactic Historian a week, YouTube likes to recommend my videos more often. So I've had a huge spike in people watching, partially because of Fleet Week, I'm sure, but I'm also because we had such a successful launch of the Invictus Flight Week lore video. So, question: is there any lore behind the Star Runner? Yes, actually, the Star Runner is the only ship to complete the famous race. There's a famous race that the Star Runner competed in twice and actually completed both of them. It's a race that's not really about winning, it's more about completion, because every year it changes. Look at the Star Runner real quick. I did a video on that too. Your Star Runner. is the only ship to have completed the Able Baker Challenge back-to-back years. So the Mercury Star Runner is the only ship to have completed the Able Baker Challenge back-to-back years. The thing about the Able Baker Challenge, the Able Baker race, is it's a binary star system, and the challenge changes every year. It's an illegal race, by the way. You're not supposed to do it. So I don't know why Crusader likes to talk about it, but it is very impressive. So the Able Baker Challenge is, you go to you either go between the binary stars, or you go onto the surface of one of the planets. Some of the planets they're basically pyro. One of the planet is entirely acid. The other planet is entirely lava. And it changes every year. So every year, it's not the same race course. They change the course every year. And it's incredibly dangerous and treacherous. And the Mercury is the only ship to have completed the Able Baker Challenge back to back. Oh, on the dislike? Because some people troll the dislikes. And Abe Dobson? Dobsonian? I have no idea. How far back was the video? No, it was last year. It's under the lore of Crusader Industries. So I did a full lore series on Crusader Industries talking about the origin of Crusader and then the background of every one of its ships, from the Jupiter to the Star, to the an unnamed luxury or transport, and then to the Genesis Star Liner, and then to the Hercules, then to the Star Runner, and lastly the Ares. All of these ships, like Crusader, because it's so small, has some of the most detailed and most recent. It has some of the most detailed lore behind every one of the ships. We can actually chart the path. Though they do have some retcons, because one of the famous quotes from Crusader is, "I find living in the heavens suits me," by a CEO that did not exist in Crusader's history. So, because we have the original creator of Crusader Industries, and it seems like the person who took over directly after him was shoot, what's her name? Kelly Kaplan. Because August Dunlow was the founder. Kelly Kaplan was one of the designers, probably the lead designer on the Genesis. And the thing about the Genesis is that the Genesis was created a new system that basically allowed them to build it in pieces. So that meant that they could build sections of the ship separately and then replace main sections with other sections, essentially creating a modular design for the ship in production. So they could quickly swap out and decide, this Genesis wants to be a military, we need to sell a couple military variants. Well, we've got most of our fabrication done, and we just swap out these internal components, like the main fuselage, and just plop that down in there. So they have like an assembly line, and then they can move it over to the military, move it over to the civilian, move it over to the luxury. Each variant has its own section. And that same design process was added to the Ares, or to the Hercules, which is why the Hercules has so many different variants as well. They do the same kind of production process, and which made it incredibly cheap for them to do so. And since they do everything in practically zero-G environments around Crusader now, it's become even easier. So we may even be able to see that process in game by the end of the year. We might be able to see the ships being made and how that system functions. Nice, Iron Tribune, nice. Usings, it'll be all over the 2947 Cutlass Restoration Project, yes. Hey. Have I seen the new patch details? They want us to fight the Idris and the Javelin. They do? See, I just saw like Burks and Nerd Show and Tell and Detox, and everyone just been like, let's fight the ships. At first, I thought Drake was a manufacturer of the people, and then I watched your video and Crusader and his founder. Oh, it's very much the people's manufacturer. Drake is still the people's manufacturer. It's just the difference between Che and Che Guevara versus Fidel Castro in terms of Mao or Stalin. Mao or Lenin, probably better comparison. Not exactly the same. FDR or Churchill. That 10K want, yeah. AQ Bandage Omen. Oh yeah. No, that's well, the founder did. The founder of Crusader Industries did. And it's important to note that likely not Klaus von Werner, Kastak Arms also helped overthrow the Mezzers because they sold arms to rebels, overthrowing the Mezzers. Specifically on Idris, I think likely the governor of Idris 4, Locke is the planet, L-O-C-K-A-E. The governor of Locke was a Mezzer loyalist, and they sent either cheap or free Kastak Arms weapons to the rebels there after the fall of the Mezzers, and they actually gave the Kastak Arms, the company Kastak Arms was the recipient of the first flag of Locke, of a free Locke. So Kastak Arms is kind of a shady company, but they're my kind of shady. They're like, we'll sell arms to both sides. But when they see the wind blowing, they're like, hey, cops who are outnumbered because we sold all these guns to these bad guys, let's make a big gesture of getting you all these guns and armor for free. Oh, shoot, we made a lot of weapons for the Mezzers. Rebels. Oh, hey, you're still fighting the Mezzers? Here's all the guns. So in the end, people remember them doing the good things and not the bad things. Most of the money that the Crusader makes still goes to the poor. Like, they're the biggest non-profit organization or non-profit donator in the UAE. The Nick Cage from Lord of War? Yeah. Hey, Raven Queen. I went outside the Idris, every turret manned, so the pilot and the remote turret seats in the bridge. I think they need NPCs, AI, so they can turret shoot. Yeah, maybe. I'd love to see someday find a relic like the RSI Zeus. I'd like to see those. I'd like to see them in a museum. Question, what's the story behind the Anvil Gladiator? Not a lot is known about the Gladiator. I haven't done my Anvil series yet. There was a transmission about it. I'm looking it up right now. It's called Bombs Away, the Anvil Gladiator. One of only a handful of images of Corin that the Marines have released. The photographer Lance Corporal Tia Wallen had just completed an extensive 6-hour zero-G boarding training exercises when she came across this flight of gladiators waiting on the launch pad. The squadron was in the process of transferring a Marine vessel headed to an undisclosed combat zone. With many of the grain and contrasts contributing to the immediacy of the moment, the pilots are truly striking aspect of the picture, as there's a serenity as they wait to launch, and what we can imagine is certain danger. It serves as a testament to the focus and training of the men and women who serve in the UE Marines. Designed to operate against capital ships and installations, the Gladiator is the UEE's premier strike craft. The T3A Gladiator is the UE Navy's premier carrier-based bomber. The Gladiator squadrons are typically divided by speciality. A carrier may have both a Gladiator torpedo squadron and a Gladiator dive bomber squadron. A back seat is occupied by a tail gunner who acts as a radio operator. Though a heavy-hitting bomber, the Gladiator is proven easy to modify and thus become more commonplace in the civilian market. So likely, because it is because it's an anvil ship. Anvil didn't exist until the 29th century. I would say that it's based off of the Hornet chassis, so it's probably pretty new. Likely the Gladiator is maybe 100 years old. If you look at it, the way it's built, it's basically a Hornet cockpit with some changes to the midsection, which is very, very Anvil. So it's obviously built recently, probably to replace old bombers or to fill the role of a carrier-based bomber, which didn't really exist because you had the Retaliators, which are great for if you have a Bengal, but a Gladiator can fit on an Idris. So in theory, which increases its force. It's a force multiplier. Now you've got at least 2 bombers that can fly on an Idris that each have, I think, 4 sized 9 torpedoes. They're huge. So am I a doctor or a historian? Yes. I'm not a doctor, I just play one on TV. Welcome, Queen Elfie. How you doing? I have a question. I do a lot of lore stuff for Star Citizen, so. I have a question. I followed and watched most of your lore videos. Do you really think they get into the lore in game? Do you really think they will get the lore in game and that they have put out there? Yes, I do. I do think that they're going to be more diegetic way of doing it. So you'll see broadcasts, you'll hear people talking about stuff. It'll be slipped into missions. I think Squadron 42 is going to be the big test for that, because a lot of the lore of the game will end up in side conversations you have with characters, and things you hear and see around you. So I believe the Gladiators have size 9s, unless they've changed that recently. Size 6s? Thank you for that 41 months there, Devoted Mercury. That's awesome. Will the whole series be on sale this week? Possibly will. Possibly. Zeus would be the prize, or the prize in half. Could be a few derelicts on the far side of yet undiscovered jump gates. Yeah. Is there any lore on the boot camp and Killian system? How long it takes? How do they train pilots, crews, engineers? Yes, Techie. There's a couple of different lore, pieces they've talked about it. So, the way that CIG has said it is it takes about 6 months to a year. Recruits are often brought to training as of June 1st. They spend their boot is mostly a selection process. So during boot, you have people, you sign up for the Navy or the Army. Those are the only two you can sign up for. You can't sign up for the Marines. The Marines select you. This is nice, but man, it's bombastic. Much better. You sign up for the Navy or the Army. You don't sign up for the Marines. That first 6 months is how you're weeded out. They choose based off your performance in boot. They choose you for flight school or for engineering. They essentially go, when you're processed through boot, you're chosen for what positions you're going to do. And then you go through more specialized training. I'm forgetting the current U.S. military term for it, where you get your MOS. And that takes an additional amount of time. And I think in theory, the way it works is you go through a final exam for your specialty. And once you go through your final exam for your specialty, it should happen before the next year's Invictus Week. So essentially, Invictus Week is the beginning and end of training. So new recruits finish their full training at the end of a year of Invictus, and then new recruits are ushered in during Invictus. So it's this big kind of revolving time. So you're celebrating people leaving and some people coming back to visit after their full training is finished. You have to work in the advocacy or work in the military. Advocacy they originally thought of the advocacy as just the agents, but they seem to have a lot more of a varied programs. So there'll be advocacy, like officers, security officers, essentially, the equivalent of a typical marshal or deputy marshal, around places all over the place. But then you have the agents, which are kind of like FBI agents, or like senior marshals, or like that kind of thing for regions. They also have resources that dedicate to both prosecution and judicial are both wrapped up in the advocacy. So, like if you go to court in the UEE, you go before the advocacy judges, and they determine. You have individual prosecutors who work for the advocacy. So. Or size 6. Okay, so I was wrong. That's size 6. What's on sale tomorrow? It's MISC is the sale tomorrow. So probably the Freelancer Miss will be the big one. Maybe the hulls. If the hulls are good, they're pretty good. On Pyro, I'm excited for it, man. For those of you guys who don't know, he just put this in Devoted Market just put it in chat. I'll put this for you guys who are watching this on YouTube as well. We are doing a fundraiser. We have been doing a fundraiser. Click that link. We're raising money for Stack Up. Now, Stack Up is an organization that, thank you for that $25 donation there. They're devoted $76. It's an organization that helps veterans of the U.S., Canada, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, the North and South America in general as well. Any country that is allied with the U.S., any veterans of active duty service members who want video games. They send active duty service members who are serving overseas video game consoles and games. They send veterans who are disabled, controllers and other things to help them out. They also have a program for mental health awareness called the STOP program to try to help, get veterans the help they need, mental health they need. It's a really good program. They were on the Video Game Awards talking about themselves. I've known Steven for several years, the CEO, and they're a really good program. And they're one of the few programs out there. There's a lot of programs who say that they help veterans, and I don't have a lot of experience with those, but some of them I've known specifically do not do a lot of work. Stack Up is one of the few groups that does do a lot. Most of their money goes to so they have their numbers up there, like the percentage of that they actually go to helping veterans. It really helps. So if you guys, I have a lot of friends who went off to military, to combat, and real life combat, and Stack Up's always been an organization I've been passionate about helping out. So if you guys can, please do. When we hit $500 up there as well, we're going to be giving away a Tonk. So Nova Tonk for $500 for Stack Up. Jad, thanks for that Twitch Prime for 2 months. Nice, Drew, man. But Iron Dragoon, you know, as you may know from being in real life combat, some of the most stressful moments is is not in combat. It's the fact that at any moment you can be shelled or anything can happen, and it's that swinging violently of incredible violence and danger and nothing to do, and that can cause a lot of people to just break. And video games are a grounding activity for people, especially those who are on deployment. It's a way of reminding them that they're still normal, that there is such thing as normalcy, and it keeps the mind off of other things. It helps, the escapism helps to relax yourself so you're not so focused on everything. And there's been some legitimate medical studies about video games and their effect on treating things like PTSD. And the Stack Up is one of those groups that's really trying to spearhead a lot of that stuff. So yeah, the looming stress. That's what kills you. That's just what causes a lot of those problems. And Stack Up does a lot of good work with that. It's run by veterans, all of the people who are there were combat veterans themselves. So how long do you think we are from capital ships? Probably a year. I mean, in order to get Pyro in, which is awesome, we're looking forward to it. They're gonna need to get server meshing in, and they need server meshing anyways in order to get more than 50 people per server. So if they can get more than 50 people per server, they can do, and server meshing works the way they want it to work, then they can actually put people in capital ships sooner than you think. As always, I'm expecting, at best, static server meshing to be in at the end of the year. At worst, dynamic server meshing at the end of next year. All right, Citizen Battle asks, how about Reclaimer lore, Redeemer lore, if you've not covered it already? There's actually not a lot of lore about the Redeemer. If we take CIG's marketing at face value from the Next Great Starship, the Redeemer is the latest Aegis ship that was ever developed. Well, I guess the Eclipse, but the Eclipse program predated the Mezzer era. But it's the first bottom-up Aegis designed ship since the Mezzer era, and it specifically was designed for the UEE because they needed a gunship for ground attack. That's all we know. But because it was a fan-made ship, there is some lore about it. It's not clear if it's canon or not. But based off of the other canon things around it, and based off the fact that it exists in game, likely the Redeemer is going to be unique because of that. So, why is Drake the worst? Because, damn you, Firefly, damn you. Is it canon that all Drake style guides are made by descendants of Helen Keller? No. But it is canon that every Drake ship is just a variation of the Cutlass. Even the Kraken, it's just a big cutlass. Well, is Crusader a solo? Because if Crusader is solo, that's the case. If Crusader is not solo that day, if there are other ship manufacturers going in that day, then likely the Crusader stuff will be in hollow form, but everything else won't. I don't know anything about how the Redeemer is getting rewards, so. I want a Kraken, not 1650. Kraken. I'm a firm believer that no ship is worth the money that it costs because, frankly, it's not worth it. Playing I'm a guy who plays Zero to Hero, where I have an account that just has an Aurora. Thursdays, by the way, guys. Yeah. For some reason, it's not letting me. Right or wrong, doesn't matter. You decided they got upsized finally. Okay, let me try to recycle my stream because it doesn't seem to be wanting to recycle my. Hold on. There we go. Sorry for those of you guys in YouTube chat. I'm trying to figure this out and make sure everything's good. Type some stuff out to check. The prices of ships have always been crazy to me. It works for CIG though. I mean, it's important to remember that this is a system that they invented out of a necessity to fund the project and found out that it was still working. Thank you so much there for that donation. Whoever donated $10, it'll pop up there in a second. Vix, thank you so much for that $10 donation. At $86, thank you guys. Question: were the major orgs if Jumptown Wars? If the Jumptown Wars, if it was recorded? What? Major orgs of the Jumptown Wars? CIG did a really smart move when it came to adding the lore. They didn't specifically call out players. They simply called out the players' actions. Now, that's not something they'll do all the time. Some players will get specifically called out. I expect 100% that Burks and his organization and all of the people who have been involved in the downing of Idrises and javelins will end up in lore. I expect it because they are doing exactly what Chris Roberts wanted them to do, which is do something that would be so dramatic. No one has the first people to ever do it. And the fact that they're attacking Navy ships and destroying them effectively in a system which has had a crime spree that has gone nuts, it falls right into the hands of the lore writers. So I would be surprised if it didn't make it into lore. This is not connecting. Thank you guys who are watching on YouTube as well. Please feel free to type out in chat if you guys have any questions. With prospectors, combat mining lasers. Yeah, they did. They aren't prices, they're pledges, also known as donations. Yeah, Jad, but most people are going to think about it in terms of worth. The info runners. I work on the info runners team, and 100%, like the majority of our, I believe 100% of the majority of people who watch the info runners are because they're afraid that their ship's value is what it should be. They're afraid of missing out on value. So as much as people say it's a pledge, people put value to it, so it has a value. Their prices. They're not worth the prices. And I think the best way of putting it is, if you're comfortable with spending this amount of money, think about what you want to do in game now or in the future, and what much amount of the comfortable amount of money you are willing to spend, and then give that kind of thing. So perks, not a Jav. I think they brought down an Idris. I think they were trying to bring down a Javelin. Yeah, I mean, if you spend a lot of money on huge capital ships, you should understand that that ship may not end up in game until, like, you bought an Endeavor, that ship may not even come out until after the game is launched. It just doesn't have a lot of value. Yeah. $2052. Yeah. It's just important to keep those things into perspective. Is there a confirmed response stick? Can you give me a link? I'll give you link perms. You actually already have link perms. You're a subscriber. I need to know this thing. I need to know the lore thick. Hook a brother up. Thanks for doing the Stack Up fundraiser. It means a lot to us vets if we personally need the support or not. Vix, I've never met a veteran who came back the same as they left. And the reality is some of them are willing to admit that and some of them are not. And Stack Up is at least a small way that some people can either come to grips with the change that has happened or has a means to come to grips with it without being alone. Because it is a veteran organization run by veterans with veterans who are active in it, and it's steeped in that tradition. So it's a safe space for veterans to go to if they need. No judgmental place. You know, so buy it, melt it, use the money for ships in game now. I mean, you could. Ooh. 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 All right, I'm putting this up. I'm putting this up. I'm also going to retweet this. Hold on. There you go. It's probably not, but I feel okay with doing this. So for those who don't know, this was Burke's. Let's turn the music off real quickly. Well, I don't want to get copyright, but
now, boys.
Here we go. He doesn't have the music in the background.
39%. Boom. Oh, that's it, baby! That's it! Oh, boy. Let's go! We did it! Yeah!
That's an Idris.
Whoa! Yes! Let's fucking go!
So he downed an Idris in atmosphere. Official Space Force 1 UEN 0. Idris down. And then Star Citizen goes, Kelos Kostikin will hear about this, who is the current Imperator of the UEE. Please, CIG, I need the lore confirmation. I need the speech. I need the news report explaining the attack made by the people of Stanton against the UEE Navy. And a panicked Senate that is trying to figure out that there are panicked companies who run Stanton who are being called to the Emperor himself to say, Imperator himself, I'm sorry, to explain why their security is so out of whack. I like the Anthony Tanaka quip there. I like it. Zero damage, yeah. Paul, have you seen the NPCs at Area 18, Red and Black, that have no weapons? Who are they? First time I've seen them with no weapons. The Red and Black NPCs, I think they're just local NPCs, because the Blackjack security wears the black slaver armor. I think they're Clark Defense Forces armor. Could be true. Hey, Ujimi, how you doing, buddy? For some reason, it's not popping up on my my other ones, but what type of Crusader ship do you envision a competitor to the Cuddy and Lancers? I mean, that's kind of what we have with the Star Runner is kind of that competitor. It's up there with that in terms of size too. How you doing, Jimmy? How's VR chat going? How's singing for the waifus going? If you guys don't know, Eugenie Bear is another content creator here on YouTube. You may or may not have heard of him before, but you should all be subscribed to him because he's very talented. From the Drake Convention, they have the spaceport literally next to the big signs telling you Drake Convention. Yeah, then they're just Drake. They're probably Drake security. To begin binging on your historian, I should start at the beginning, or suggest starting somewhere else in your playlist? I suggest going, if you go on YouTube, you go to my playlists, you go to a guide to Star Citizen lore, watch those two first. Then, there's no specific order I have it. I just have it in terms of like most recent. I didn't do it in a more recent things. After you have that basic guide, pick and choose. Go through the playlist and pick the ones that you find the most interesting and start watching them. Though I would always suggest the lectures or the videos on the background of the UEE. I have a full detailed video that just talks about the UEE government, its structure, the military, the whole thing. And then there's one on the UEE Navy I did. Those are probably good ones to start with as well after the guide to lore. And then from there on, it's just pick and choose your favorite topics. You know, there's nothing in particular. Walking that thin line, love you, Paul. Love you too, Jimmy. Start what you think is interesting. If you like ships, start with ships. Then they'll kind of focus on diversion. Yeah, I definitely go for if you're looking to get the big idea of the universe, how the universe works, definitely start with the guide to lore and then work your way to the UEE and the UE Navy. Those are those would be the 4 beginning ones I'd suggest. Exactly. It's hard to stop watching. There's like a lot of hours of it, so there's a lot of hours of it. Yeah, it's easy to let it flow from place to place. They're all connected in some way, shape, or form. And you'll start seeing the connections. You see, draw the lines, man. It's all connected, man. It's all connected. And I try to do that as well. I try to do as many callbacks to other videos as I can to try to drag it all together. Particle weapon history? I did talk about that. It is in our nature to flip off the UE Navy. Red Yard lining all the YouTube's videos together? Yeah. That would be interesting, to make a web of my videos and show the connections they have to all the other videos, so people can like see all the connections and how they spiral out together. Bartender when Microtech controls the universe? He does. That's why I want to murder him. Eddie Parr! But seriously, thank you, CIG. They gifted us a Cutlass Blue to give away. It's a Cutlass Blue package, I believe. Exclamation point Cutlass in chat. For those of you guys watching on Twitch. For those of you watching on YouTube, I'm going to put... where are you? Copy. Okay, I'm gonna put these in a top pinned up comment, so you guys, I'll keep referring to it. Cutlass Blue package, and then we're also giving away Cutlass Blue because we've been giving away Cutlass Blue all month. Cutlass Blue ship. For those of you guys watching on Twitch, that's exclamation point May in chat. Me. Oh, Doom Aviator! I was talking mad shit about the Redeemer. Should I regale you with how many ways I can tell the Redeemer to suck me off? It can go straight to hell. It is not my ship. I hate those curlers, man. I hate those curlers. And there we go. Address. Edit. I realized I just did it twice. There we go. I'll put these in the pinned comment. So if you guys are watching this on YouTube, look at the pinned comment. That should give you guys the way to enter that stuff. I hate the Redeemer, guys. I unabashedly hate the Redeemer. Looks cool. Is it a big hanger? Yeah. Foul demon. Fight me. That's Friday, right? Or no, is that... Yeah, it's Friday. Because tomorrow is Misk, then Crusader, and I think like Kruger and a bunch of other ones. And then Friday through Monday. Or Tuesday is Drake. I'm also not a big fan of Aegis. I'll just say that as well. It's always a flattering look. I love the Herald. I love how the Herald looks. I just wish it was a little bit more useful than it is. Oh yeah, they'll 100% sell the Mercury this week. I don't doubt it. Vlad, thank you so much for that Twitch Prime sub, man. Shots and cheers in chat for Vlad. Big ups on that. We're currently at 284 sub points, which is nice. Let me see what total that is, though. $262 subs. It's not bad. He's already having to wait. Well, that's when it ends, is Tuesday. Is there a day that Crusader will be on? Yeah, let me look at the schedule. You guys a full breakdown of the schedule for the Invictus 2950. All right. Details, here we go. There either. The IGFXO website. It's terrible to try to navigate. Invictus 2950, there we go. All right, so today and tomorrow is Aegis, and then Thursday and Friday is Misk, Consolidated Outland, Argo, and Crusader, and then Saturday, I believe, May 30th, yeah, Saturday, through June 1st is Drake, which is Monday. So we've got Aegis tomorrow, and then we've got Thursday and Friday we have Misk, Consolidated Outland, Argo, and Crusader. Here is the full schedule for you guys, if you haven't seen it. Paul, if you look at the top pinned comment on the YouTube video, that you can check that out. How much does CIG make today with the Idris and the Javelin? I don't know. I'd have to double check. Yeah, so we've got May. This was you can buy all these stuff still. You can still buy all these ships. It's just the limited sales stuff is the ones that you can't. So Aegis is tomorrow, today and tomorrow, and then there's 2. Cute lass. She's a cute lass. Drake makes good cargo practice. Do we have some story about the Nautilus? Yes, I did an entire video on the Nautilus. It was a ship designed in secret for the Mezzers as a mine layer. It was designed as a force multiplier. It's been used several times in combat, including the most recent battle against the Vandul, very effectively. I don't know when it was originally, off the top of my head, I don't remember when it originally was launched, but there's an entire like brochure that talk about it. So I don't think we're gonna see here we go. Folks talk about how CIG makes is all about cash flow, but it's not true. They had both Idris and Javelin on sale 24/7. No, they're using a tactic called FOMO, fear of missing out, which is a very popular tactic used by and a tactic something called artificial scarcity. It's a tactic used by Supreme, the company that sells low quality goods that just have the title Supreme on it, but they can sell because they only have 1,000 shirts. They can sell those shirts for $100 when it only costs them 25 cents to make the shirt, and they can make a huge killing because they artificially limit the numbers they have. Now, CIG may have other reasons for artificially limiting their ships because they don't want to see as many in the universe or for other balance purposes. They may have that worked out, but in reality, it also makes them more valuable to other people, which means that people are more willing to stay up late and spend, especially if they're thinking about possibly not buying it, knowing that they will have no chance of purchasing it for another year. For that, many of them, they need to buy it right now, and they prey on people who have impulse control. The reality, though, is that they don't make a lot of money through fundraising. They'd make more money if they had released a game that initial hype, sales, and spike would probably make millions of dollars, more money, many more millions than they've made in any given year. But they haven't, so it's a kind of stuff. Is a gray area, yeah. The Scoundrel Pack seems a good way to purchase the Mercury or wait to get a good pack. Can't decide. That really depends. I tend to say the Mercury on its own isn't bad. I don't know about the Scoundrel Pack. The packages generally are not very worth it, but you can get some good, decent discounts for them. So when you buy a package, those crazy packages with multiple ships. Yeah. So that's the line they walk. I think they'd be making more money if they sold all the ships all the time. I also think they'd be making more money if they just streamlined it and simplified it and gave everyone LTI. Of course, there'll be backlash, but they said, hey, you purchased the ship with real life cash, it's LTI. And they just focus on their efforts for moderating, because all that insurance is really just an in-game money sink. The idea is to prevent an inflation control method, is what it originally was designed as. But it's become a seller, and I don't think CIG is making a ton of money off of, they obviously aren't making a ton of money off of concept ship sales, because this is the first concept they've had since November. and every month from November till May has been the biggest month they've ever had ever. So like last November was the biggest November they'd ever had. Last December was the biggest December they'd ever had. This January was the biggest of the January they ever had. This, February, March, April, and likely May now with this sale was the best sales they've ever had for that month. It's just continually going up, and they've had 2 concept ship sales in that time, which is unusual. So most of the money isn't coming from concepts; it's coming from ships that are they've always been selling, and probably mostly from new starter packages. So. Listen. Seer can fight me when he can find me. I'll talk to Execute and get to do it. Then do a special edition of the Info Runners, where it's just me and Seer beating each other up in Star Citizen and boxing over whether the Redeemer is good or not. I hate the Redeemer. Will the Crucible be in-game anytime soon? It's really hard to tell. The Crucible is one of those ships that would likely end up in the game soon, because the Crucible is very important for like repair. Though I think you're more likely to see the Vulcan come in before the Crucible, just because the Vulcan is smaller, so they can work on the smaller scale a little bit better, and then drones doing repair is a little bit different. But then again, all that the Crucible is just a flying repair yard. So they're going to need to do the repair yards in game at ship docks eventually. So with those stations requiring repair docks, I wouldn't be surprised if the Crucible ended up being first in there. It really depends on when repair gets added. And I think repair and salvage and refueling and rearming, all of those mechanics, the more in-depth ways that they're being created, won't really exist until they have iCache in and, to a lesser degree, server meshing. iCache specifically, yes. Will the Crucible grow in size, and why? It will grow in size because she's thick, but because she's literally a flying repair yard, and everything from that era that was built was eventually built up in size. Remember, the Crucible at one point had a full white box done to it, so they were in the process of making it, and then it just fell off the radar. Probably because it got caught up in that everything that goes to Manchester gets bigger kind of situation. So, He's Toast, thank you so much for that 7 months with Prime there, buddy. So much. Package will be your NPC crewmen later on. We don't have 100% confirmation of that, Johnny, though. So I wouldn't go off and buying more packages until we have that more confirmation. Packages aren't going anywhere. I'm FOMO'd, yeah. Do you think CIG uses the fact to not release certain ships during a few years waiting time, and after release causing it hype the growth and sale? I don't doubt it. I mean, but the problem is that tactic requires a lot of planning to hold something back intentionally, so to wait until the hype builds for it and releasing it. I think it's more that CIG is very smart at picking up on the hype that the community has. Tyler's not stupid. Neither is Molly. Neither is Ulf. Neither is Chris. The community team is very hyper aware of how the community reacts to this. Likely one or more of them are either in this channel right now, or will be in the next, or were earlier, or will be in the future, because they are very, very keen on paying attention to the community, and they know the shifts in attention that happen because certain ships get better treatment than others. They understood the Carrack hype, and they rode the Carrack hype to incredible sales numbers. It's not stupid. It's just using what the community was already hyped about. And I think the the Star Runner is the next big hype machine that they know about, which is why I'm sure it got fast-tracked. Because they're like, hey, if we're doing the Hercules, let's just do the Star Runner at the same time. Because it's obvious they've been working on this Hercules for a while. Maybe because it's in Squadron 42, I don't know. So because the Star Runner is smaller, they probably swap the priorities between the two, but are still working on them side by side. Because, you know, a team that works on the ship the size of the Star Runner is different from the team that works on the size of the Hercules. So they're not stealing each other's stuff, but they needed to get the basic assets done for it. So that's intentional. They knew about it, and they milked it. And that's what the Star Runner is. The next Carrack. It'll be everywhere in meme form in August. I got the Star Runner. I'm a smuggler. Star Runner is perfect. It's part freelancer, part a herald. It's part herald, part freelancer. Hell yeah. Sign me up, baby. And right, reveal yourself. Was I know? Do I like the Titan paint jobs? Oh, Steve. I came to the realization because I hadn't really paid attention to all of the Invictus stuff because I didn't even have the links to it until recently. I didn't really have it. I don't really buy ships, so I started looking at it, and there was a comment someone made on the last captain's table about how $11 for blue is ridiculous, and I was like, then don't buy it. Like, I didn't get what the thing was. So it turns out, this is what I'm gathering, is that CIG is moving away from having skins being able to be put on every ship. I wouldn't be surprised if CIG said, you know, all those $5 skins we sold at the very beginning of the pledge, well, those are all Aurora skins now. So if you don't have an Aurora, you can't use them on other ships. It'd be a bitch move, but I wouldn't put it past them, honestly. And the fact of the matter is that skins are some of the most commonly understood items in video games and how they work. It really doesn't take a lot of effort. And CIG even showed that they have like an algorithm, essentially, or a tool that allows them to make skins for practically 1 million skins on the fly for any ship. But now they're sectioning them off into individual skins for individual ships, so they can charge higher numbers for the same skin that goes on the Titan that goes on the Retaliator. Look at it. They're practically the same design. But one's $5 and the other one's $11 because it's a bigger ship. That's scummy. That's bullshit. And, you know, once I came to understand that today, I'm like, I hate this idea. This is terrible. Ben, I think he's still part of Jump Point magazine, but for his health, he's not part of the day-to-day stuff. I think he moved back to Maryland, was the last I checked. It's skin with the paint, but they've talked about the primary, secondary, and tertiary colors being able to be changed, but I'm not okay with that. The skins are they've always been kind of a ripoff, and now the way that they seem to be pushing the customization makes them even more of a ripoff. He's not wrong. That was planned. They've talked about it, but it's obvious that they're not going that direction right now. The way that they're going is that skins which are essentially skins and colors rather than just being like layouts where you can add colors, will be sold by chassis basis. So you have to go to a place that specifically paints on retaliators, which doesn't make any sense. And then you can only get that skin. Maybe in the future, they'll adapt it so that you can take that skin and add different colors to that design. So it's not blue and green and purple, but red and white and yellow. As an example, to swap the colors around a little bit. But I still, at its core, the idea that the skins themselves are sold by the chassis rather than just being a skin that you can apply to various different ships is a huge change from what they used to do. Vix, I think they actually have. That's the thing. Like the concept they're currently selling right now, the G12, is essentially just the rover they promised with the 600. The Ares is the only ship recently that was a ship that it was completely ground up different from what was already promised. The Blue was already out, in 391, so the Blue is released. Then you have the Star Runner and the Hercules coming out soon as well. So a lot of the backlog of ships are actually catching up with it because they are not adding new concept ships. I don't know, Jad, but the current direction that they seem to be going with skins, I wouldn't be surprised if all of those skins end up being just Aurora skins. If the Electra skin, all of those $5 Universal skins ending up just being Aurora skins, because that's what they made them for. That's what the first round for, which again is a ripoff, and I don't like it. CIG's going to have to confirm that a little bit before I start not railing about how it's a ripoff and CIG is about to literally stick their foot in a bucket of paint and screw up the easiest part of MMOs, which is fashion. I don't trust any of the skins that are in the store because I don't know, Sorry to bring it down a little bit. That was my most recent kind of, what are you doing, CIG? What are you why are you doing this? No, guy, why are you messing this up? It's so easy not to mess up. It's so easy to not screw it up. Just make them all $5. You would sell hundreds of them. Make them variable per chassis. Just don't make them available for every chassis. So, for instance, the current blue and yellow skin that's on a bunch of the different ships. You say it's currently available for these different ships. It'll be added to the other ships eventually. We just don't have them added yet. Any idea about possible ground vehicles for mining? That's a good question. None yet, but I don't doubt that that's something they'd probably delve into in the future. It's a really long way around to get paint variation. Yeah, it's a way of being as money grubbing as possible about paint variation. Like it's the Bethesda school of gouging your customers, which for like customization is a little weird. They should just do it like Warframe. Yeah, exactly. Warframe, MechWarrior Online, there are so many different examples of having patterns and then colors. And people talked about buying paint buckets, so buying like a paint color for $1 or 50 cents. and then or buying paint palettes for $5 or $10 and having skins which are patterns which you sell for $10 or $5. $5, you already have them $5. $5 for a pattern. Exclusive patterns are $10, but making them variable for every ship hull. They maybe look a little different from ship to ship because they're different sizes, but they already do that, and I can show you. Hold on. So, let's take a look at the paints here. So, we've got this right here, which is, by the way, the same thing as this. It is the same thing as the Titan Renegade. So we've got this, right? And then you have this and this. There's a little bit of a difference here, but, you know, there's a little variation. $5, $5, $3. Yeah, it's not so bad. Especially that. It's really cool paint for $3. This is the price I was looking at. It should be that. This is ridiculous. You look at this, okay? Blue and white. It's the same essential skin as this. It's just on this chassis, it looks a little different. But you could sell it the same thing, the blue and gold paint. You just call it blue, Invictus Blue and Gold. And it would be just applied to every ship, every single one. It just looks different per chassis. And you can see here that the paints are exactly the same. This gray paint is exactly as Twilight paint. You can see the lines where the lines are on the paint, where they're actually applying the colors. They're the same places. They just have different marking locations. So essentially, you're paying an additional, first $7 is ridiculous, but for camo, you're paying $11 for essentially the same thing, but with patterns. What? Same thing goes for this. These are essentially the same ships in terms of like how the color patterns work. They're the same skins. This is green and this is camo, but you're paying $2 additional for the camo, the camo like version of the same like pattern. And it's even worse when you go to Anvil. So these are all fine. These are actually really good deals for $3. And then, yeah, but if you look at the green gray paint and you look at the Twilight paint, again, $2 just for camo. And then this is even worse. These are all the same designs. These are all the exact same designs. Line, 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 line. It's just where the primary, secondary, and tertiary color palettes are being placed. But it's huge price difference here. I don't like it. I don't like it, CIG. I'll put it in chat for you guys because I didn't know where it was either. There you go. I didn't send out to you guys who are on YouTube. Here you go. There you go. Question: is there a fix for the inability to access my personal inventory in the Mobiglass, i.e. armor and ships? You don't see them in the game? I don't know if you don't see them. I don't know if there's a fix for that. You may have to go to the help desk, which is, if you go to Spectrum, there's like a little chat tab that's just the volunteer help desk, and ask them. They may have a way around it. Is the Redeemer worth it? What do you want to do, James? Is there any information on science gameplay? Not fully. We have some basic ideas. Do you know if the characters stopped being sold? I think it's no longer being sold. Eve does the same thing with artificial scarcity mixed in. This is where PGI went wrong with MWO. Paints and camos are way too much and limited in chassis bot 4. Yeah. They need an M577 ground vehicle that armored personnel carry from Aliens. I agree. And so does Loken. Is the only way to fix it is reset account there? So Man Solo, apparently you have to reset your account. And if you go onto your account on rsi.com, there's a place where you can do that. So if you go to here, let me show you. I'll show you guys through the conversation. Buckeye Don, still here, still watching. When do we get a more playable game? Soon, Buckeye Don, always soon. Always soon, TM. I messed up. Hey, Diablos. We're just ranting about the skins. Here you go. So here's the skins. If you go to Aegis, right? You see this. You see schedule, all that kind of stuff. You go discover Aegis. You click that. You go. It'll open up this little section. You see flyable, future flyable, and paints and extras. You'll see it there. So it's at this link right here. Oops. See my RP character right there. And the character is still available for upgrade. Yeah, so you should be able to... Oh, no, yeah, the character should be purchasable. Its character should still be purchasable on right now for the sale. So whoever asked about the character, check it out. How do you feel about the short list of ships that can be a game pack ship? I don't mind it. Though I personally believe that if you spend more than $45, you should get the game immediately. I'm a fan of simplification. Simplifying rather than complicating. Because the more you simplify stuff, the easier it is for people to onboard, and the more people will judge you based off of your the game and not your marketing potential. And simple marketing is the best one because people don't fuck it up and forget how to do it. You know? So the best way to do it is to start off like this. Give everyone LTI. Everyone who buys a ship gets LTI. You have game packages, and any ship that's over $45 immediately has a game package attached to it. So anything below $45 or whatever the starter package price is not with a game package. You just say $45 or up, automatically a game package with it. And this is where it gets a little bit complicated, if you don't already have a game package. So if I want to buy a Cutlass, I just buy a Cutlass and it comes with a game package. Because it's a $100 ship, I should get the game if I'm paying $100. Charging me an additional $20 for a package is stupid. Just give me the game. Or if I'm paying for a Connie, which is $250, I shouldn't have to be paying an additional $20 for a game package. And every ship has LTI. That's all you need to know. Very simple, very easy. That way, every time you purchase the... if you make the product easy to buy, people are going to impulse buy it. You make it available, people will impulse buy it. It still happens. People do that all the time. I walk through freaking supermarkets and go, oh, Reese's. I'm gonna grab that. It's only $3. I'm cool with it. You know, why do you think impulse buying works? Yeah, and that's the biggest problem, is that as CIG is becoming more reliant on new backers, they have made records because of new backers. Not because of old backers, but because of new backers. And as this becomes more and more new people show up to play the game, they're going to need to simplify it, because the more complicated it gets, they're going to turn away people. And it's not an issue of like them not making money. I don't think CIG is ever going to stop making money off of pledges and stuff like that. I think the issue is we're talking about the difference between hundreds of thousands or thousands and hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, in my opinion. The basics things they should do is prevent people from buying a ship that's if you do not have an account, you have to buy an account. And that account is this many dollars. Period. You have to buy a game package. You can't even buy a Cutlass until you have a game package. You can't even buy a Hornet. You can't even buy an Avenger unless you have a game package. Buy a game package first. That'd be another simple way of doing it. Here's a game package. This one comes with Squadron 42. Oh, what's Squadron 42? It's a single player campaign. It's a double game pack. You just call it Star Citizen game pack, Squadron 42 game pack, and then the double game pack, and that's it. You still want people to kind of have a decision in there, so you have the two starter ship options, which is nice. You kind of, you may need to have a video to describe it a little bit, but overall, especially when the game's a little bit more mature, that won't really matter as much. So. No, you wouldn't lose your handle there. For some reason, it stopped. Restream stopped working again. You think we'll see a Hull C sometime this year? Yes. The end of the year, my guess. And what kind of modularity could it have? No modularity. It'll only have cargo. There'll be no real modularity with a Hull C, ever, really. The key with the Hull C is they need to have the actual like cargo containers be able to be moved in and out of the ship for loading and unloading stuff. So once that is ready to go, then you'll see the Hull C then, if not shortly after that. And from the sounds of things, they're getting to that point towards the end of this year. Why don't you work for CIG? They couldn't pay me enough. I'm not moving to LA either. They need a marketing person. They have it on their lists. I don't have a degree in it. I did used to work in it. So I wouldn't meet their qualifications. Even I'd probably have enough experience to meet their qualifications. But I'd have to move to LA, which I hate. And I demand at least $100,000. Because I know CIG is worth it. And I need to be able to live, especially in a place like LA. Neither of those would be options for them. I'd also probably bash my head against the wall because screaming at them about their marketing strategies. But there's a lot of things that, like, I'm not saying CIG is a bad place to work. I know plenty of people who work for CIG and they are over the moon happy with where they work, which is great. I just know that I wouldn't be a good fit. No, Iron, they're very, very particular about who can work where. I'm not some sort of marketing wunderkind that I could just say, I'll work out of Austin. They need me in LA because that's where all of their marketing is done. There's a reason why there's a lot of ad agencies in LA, because that's where all the ads and the business deals are getting done. So it's not just a matter of work out of the Austin studio. I'd also have to go to LA a lot anyways to do a lot of the negotiations. There's a reason why New York, LA, and San Francisco are some of the biggest places for marketing, and ad agencies specifically, when I was last in the business, it was mostly LA, though I know there was a lot of New York. I think it depends on, like, I think film agencies and that kind of stuff were mostly LA, and then like print was mostly in New York, but it's variable now, I'm pretty sure. I lived in San Francisco for a while when I grew up. That's where I worked in marketing there. And so it's a matter of being where the people are, because a lot of marketing is just knowing people and when to talk with them and how to schmooze with them. Hey, Alana. Sorry. Firefly, it's not that bad. 100,000 is middle class for places like LA. It's what the $100,000 would be the equivalent of what I make now in Austin. Probably a little bit more, but not by much. What's up with the creepy ass music? It's Uther Riley. It's just good kind of background music. It's called The Last of the Leviathans, but I can choose the next one. Oh, we got epic music. Exclamation point Utho in chat if you guys are in Twitch. Let's move on to another thing, though, guys. I'm enough being negative about CIG. What's the most? What ship am I looking forward to and why? I guess it's just the Star Runner, the Mercury Star Runner, just because it looks cool. I pretty much do smuggling content, so that's what I like to do. Mike asks, what was the most epic battles you've had, you read about? Speaking about lore. The Battle of Idris 4 is pretty insane. It is one of the most impactful battles in lore. It is where the tide turned in the First Tevarin War, and is one of those battles that's like, it's like a turning point. Because the Battle of Idris 4 was a success, everything from that branch has happened because of that battle. It's a huge epic battle. Though the Battle of Centauri, I want to say, which is Saisei and Tor, where Squadron 42 defeated the Tevarin fleet at the end of the Second Tevarin War, that is almost as big. So, when are you going to a pub to meet and game? When are you going to have a pub for us to meet and game? You're great, man. In game, I will have a pub, and that pub is going to be mobile. But on Fridays, I open up the bars. I go into game and I open up one of the bars in the universes. So, like this Friday, I'll open up a bar at G-Lock in Art Corp. So you'll go if you go to G-Lock, I'll be there serving drinks for free. We don't have any alcohol in game, but we do have drinks. So we do that on Fridays. Thoughts on the Star Runner being able to hold a rover now? Oh, is it able to hold a rover now? Is that what they said? Have they responded about the lore confirmations of Burks? They haven't, no. I'm pretty sure it was just one of them being funny, you know, being humorous. Tomorrow I'm not streaming because I am on the Yacht Club. You'll see me this Wednesday at the Yacht Club. I keep meaning to put stuff out there. And then this Sunday, I think I'm going to be part of the LaRusso Lounge if Maddie's still going to be streaming this Sunday. So it's going to be a big community week for me. So. Confirmed that they extended the cargo bay to hold a rover. Yes! That's cool. I like it. Cutlass is, we're giving away a Cutlass Blue. For those guys on YouTube, at the very top pinned comment on this video. So if you look right down below me, you'll see a top pinned comment. That top pinned has 2, which is the Cutlass Blue, just the standalone ship, which has got 10 years insurance on it, and then the Cutlass Blue package, which is LTI. If you're out here on Twitch, it's the exclamation point May, which is going to be ending here this week. This Saturday, actually, I think is what it ends, or this Sunday. And we'll be drawing it next Tuesday. And then there's the exclamation point Cutlass to get the other one. The major reason why I did that is because CIG gave me a Cutlass Blue when I was already giving away a Cutlass Blue, and I decided, you know, I've already paid the money to get back my Cutlass Blue. I'll just give 2 away, because why not? You can't watch this week? Why can't you watch this week, Aimless? What do you think they might sneak into the remodel of Grimhacks for lore? Definitely going to sneak in a better bar. At one point, I remember talking with some of the guys who do on the prop team, and they were not happy with the bar at Grimhacks. They're definitely the racing track is going to be a big one, so we might see the racing guy who's in charge of Grimhacks. So, and they're going to have bigger hangars to be able to hold up to, I believe, hammerheads, or hammerheads, possibly reclaimers and 890 jumps onto Grimhacks. Not many of them, but give away all the blues. I'm getting rid of my blues. Giving my blues away. Do 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 do. You know. The approach to Grimhex? What do you mean the approach? Like the actual flying into it? It does make sense. Or the approach in terms of the design of Grimhex? Yes, Fast and Furious 1045. I don't remember his name. Look up Grimhex. Luca Brunt is his name. Luca Brunt he collects bets on the races at Grimhex Racetrack. Hey, David, how you doing, buddy? Firefly. So the way that I understand it is that they used to keep the asteroids up, like they used to actually position the asteroids so that you'd have like a way to get in and out when Green Imperial ran it. And then over time, because of just drift of those asteroids, they're bouncing into one another, they've kind of moved in, and the people who run Grimhex don't care because it gives them a little bit more cover. So the asteroids themselves have become dislodged and moved around from where they originally were, and that adds to the whole, it's not really supposed to be used anymore. Good. Yeah. The Baldur with the black veins. That's Klim, Wallace Klim. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, he's in the basement of Grimhex right now. If I upgrade to the Carrack, don't get anything special. If I sell my pledge and buy cheap in-game package, I can get the Carrack cheaper with 10-year insurance. How are you getting the 10-year insurance? I don't think is anything you purchase in-game now gives you 10-year insurance? Is that what it works? Nice, Jovakin, nice. Any price estimate for the new Star Runner? I mean, It was like, what, $200 before? Probably not much more. Select ships have 120 month insurance. Oh, okay. So yeah, no, do it, dude. That's what I did. I had a starter package that was from 2013, 2014. I think it was 2013 that I still had, that of a ship that I didn't care about. So I just melted it and brought it onto the UEE Explorers pack before they increased that price. Four out of 500. By the way, guys, we're raising money for StackUp.org, an organization that helps veterans through the power of gaming. They help out veterans in the United States, North America, South America, Europe, Africa, allies of the United States, essentially. The United States and its allies to raise money, or helps them. They raise money to send them games and send veterans material that they need. So if you're like, so for instance, a veteran is disabled, they send them they'll send them a special controller, or to help them play better. They'll if a veteran is overseas, or if someone is overseas, soldiers overseas, they'll send the units like care packages full of game consoles and games. They send people to, like, veterans to gaming events like E3, PAX, and so on and so forth. And they also have the STOP program, which is a mental health awareness program that helps veterans, preventing suicide and to help cope with PTSD. They do a lot of good work for veterans through the power of gaming. They're all gamers too. So if you guys want to help out, !StackUp in chat to get that. Oop. Don't worry. Is 10 years. Yeah, I figured that. You're going to try to get the Javelin or Idris that's happening in like 15 minutes? Nope. I am not. Though good luck. May the odds ever be in your favor. Not going after that Idris. But if you guys want to help out, even $5, $1, whatever you can give, it helps a lot. Raising money. We usually raise money for them in November, but they get most of their money then, and so I wanted to kind of try to spread it out a little bit and raise a little bit more during this time as well. If all works out properly, I'm going to do a 4-hour stream on Friday where I'm going to run from one point to another. I was originally going to do it last Friday, but then other things happened, so. Any more questions? Discussions? Law questions? Good at all that stuff, so. Oh, dethroned me. It's only $26 to knock me out of the top spot. Yeah, Firefly's in the top spot right now. Yes, I have questions. I have answers, TK Shadowway. Medical Carrick? Yeah. Best large ship to solo. Freelancer. If you like combat, then the blue. Cutlass blue. Overall, the Freelancer, though. The Taurus might be a pretty good option, but it's not in game right now. Anything outside the Connies would, in terms of size, would probably be difficult. Like the Corsair is definitely going to be a difficult ship to solo. What's the most powerful Illuminati person or group other than the Imperator, like the head of the space CIA type deal? The head of the Advocacy, probably. Though the High Command, which is the leaders of the Army, Navy, and Marines, they probably also were up there. Other than that, I would say the CEO of Robert Space Industries, because they make everything. But yeah, probably the head of the Advocacy is who you're looking at. The Inspector General of the Advocacy, I think is what they're called. They won't let you donate? Captain Chong, you switched that $7.80 to stack up. You're getting us to $94. Thank you so much, my man. The Banu uses Tavaran tech. Why? Because the Banu uses only the best tech. So they use the Tavaran shield tech, Xi'an thrusters, and human weapons. No, they have their own weapons. They use Banu weapons. I think it's human the human main thrusters, Xi'an maneuvering thrusters. That's just in their culture. The Banu are all about the best, no matter what it is. They don't care about where it comes from. They just want the best. If you buy a standalone ship, can you melt it at any time? Is there a time limit? You can melt it at any time. Now, you can only get the value of what you purchased for it. So if you buy a ship for $50 and then 2 years later that ship goes up to $70, you cannot use the credit. You can use the credit to rebuy the ship, but then you need to cover the cost difference as well. So even if you purchase it for $40, I believe you still have to pay for it. I may be wrong with that. But no, you can use it to purchase any ship as long as you can purchase it with credit. There are some ships that you cannot purchase with credit. You have to purchase them with cash. The Freelancer is supposed to have VTOL engines like the commercial. No, they originally were planning on that, and then they've had so many issues with the Cutlass. If you remember, the original Cutlass had these like really wonky engines that would flap around everywhere. So they decided they weren't going to do that anymore. That was the original Xi'an tech design for it, though. So they removed that because of technical issues. What about the Corsair? Will it come out this year? No, I don't think the Corsair will come out this year. May the odds be ever in your favor. I just picked my movie for tonight. Yep. Question, why is Drake cheap? They're intentionally cheap. Drake has taken all their money out of the luxuries of space travel and any kind of, like a lot of the safety precautions, to put it into more guns, faster ships. Drake is the orcs of Star Citizen. We put red on it, go faster. More darker. Hey, Bastion, how you doing? Who wants to help me assassinate the head of the Advocacy? Isn't Microtech way richer than any of the other chip manufacturers? It's probably on par with them, just because they sell the iPhone. But the iPhone of the future, the smartphone of the future. But question, what do you think about blades for turrets? I don't think it's a bad idea. It just needs to be tiered properly. More power draw, more power gameplay, that kind of thing. Cooling gameplay, those are two things that I'd definitely like to see. More fidgeting with coolers and power. Is the Cuddy Black still considered top-rated, lower-tier ships? One of them. I personally think that the Freelancer is better in most ways, but the Freelancer is also a much more skilled ship. You can talk to Isaacs, Innerhype. He's still in chat. He is a master Freelancer pilot. It really requires you a lot of practice and training to do a Freelancer, to be able to do everything you can in a Freelancer. Otherwise, it can, especially in combat, it can let you down. It hits like a truck in combat, but it also drives like a truck in combat. So it's up there. It's just a little fragile for when it gets hits. The Cutlass, I mean. What's my current flyable smuggler ship? The Black. Black is the best smuggling ship out there. Cutlass Black, hands down. Take it to the bank. Because with smuggling, the key is speed, easy access in and out, and maneuverability. The Cutlass is fast. It is maneuverable. It has enough teeth to deal with competitors, and it has a lot of easy access to all of the ship. Plus, it holds 40 plus SCU of cargo space. And generally speaking, when you're smuggling stuff like drugs, you don't want to buy in bulk because it'll take you forever to sell that stuff. No one buys drugs in bulk. It's stupid. You just lose a lot of money. You want to buy it in small amounts that you can move quickly and get rid of quickly. 10 SCU or less. And so I found that the best ship for smuggling is the Cutlass. Until the Mercury Star Runner comes out. I just want to go saying that it wasn't the Cuddy wasn't the top tier lower ship, but then also said that it's sort of is. Wasn't the 350 supposed to be an advocacy smuggling ship and more? Yes, they do have 350s that are advocacy ships. The M50 was supposed to be the replacement for the Avenger. That's one of the reasons why they're getting a rework, I believe. I have both the Cutlass and several Freelancers. I love the very low signature of the Freelancers. Yeah. Do you think the Mercury Star Runner's weakness is going to be? Probably maneuverability. It's probably not very maneuverable. Fast in a straight line. Tough. Doesn't have a lot of firepower. It really doesn't. And it's very weak on the firepower. And I don't really think it has a lot of missiles, if any. So its main focus is getting from point A to B fast and be able to turtle as much as possible. But it probably won't take a lot of damage. Hey, Neba, how you doing, buddy? I was told the whole sea was supposed to have hidden cargo space for contraband. Is that true? Eventually, I believe every ship will have small compartments that you can use to smuggle. The key is adding compartments that also have shielding to them, which is a little bit more complex than they're able to do right now. 890 jump solo it. No. Would the UEE be more suspicious of a Cutlass Herald or a Mercury Star Runner? Probably Drakecrafts, yeah. I mean, the Cutlass is a double-edged sword, because the same things that make the Cutlass very good for pirates and smugglers is the same thing that makes them great for cops and militia. There's a reason why Drake makes the Cutlass blue, because they really do work very well because it's got a lot of firepower, it's got a lot of speed, it's got a lot of maneuverability, and it has space. And so they make the Cutlass blue so they could use it as a means of transporting people without having to go big in terms of like size ships to deal with that kind of thing. Same with the red for the Cutlass, because it's destined to be a search and rescue ship. And the black works really well as a militia ship because it's simple to fix. It's cheap, simple to fix. And it's really good for what it does. So there's a reason why almost every security ship you run into is either going to be a Avenger Stalker or a Cutlass. Those are the two major ships that are in the security personnel. And then the two major ships you see for pirates is the Buccaneer and the Cutlass. The Cutlass is that's Drake's secret. They sell to both sides in this conflict, and they make a lot of money. What's the deals with big ships in the event right now? I saw them briefly a couple days ago, but I'm in Linux, so the whole game's finicky for me. I'm not sure I'm able to get back there. So, Nair, it's currently Fleet Week, also known as Invictus Launch Week, which is the week where new recruits to the UEE graduate from the training in UEE, and also when new recruits are brought into their first days of basic training. So they use this time as a week to celebrate the UEE Navy in general. So it's a big kind of event. And CIG's using it as kind of a secret ship sale event. So they also have stuff in game for it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. You can actually get up close to the ships. You can get almost on top of them. In fact, several players have destroyed some of the big ships. Took an hour of combat, but they took them down. Yeah. You can get up and close and personal with combat ships. You can get up close and personal with the capital ships and the military grade fighters. Go Star Runner, yeah. I think the Star Runner probably has enough of a kind of a shady perspective that if a security pulled the Star Runner out of Quantum, they'd be as suspicious as they would be for the Cutlass. I think the Cutlass Blue is a fantastic bounty hunter ship. It is 100% a great bounty hunter ship. And the reason why is because it has that entanglement device that prevents ships from jumping. Because that is the biggest pain in the ass of anybody who has to deal with bounties, is they always run. Javelin sales open. Good luck. Crash the website. They're testing a patch in PTU that supposedly makes the fleet ships properly nigh indestructible. Patch notes say they'll fight back, and a couple of this is easier to damage than it should be bugs are fixed. Okay. Hey, Vile Noxy, thanks so much for that raid. Welcome everyone from Vile Stream. Why did we go to war against the Devarin? Because the Devarin attacked us. At least that's what the records have showed, that the Devarin attacked the UEE for the first Devarin war, and then in the second Devarin war, the Devarin attacked again to reclaim their homeland. And they're gone. I don't doubt it. As a smuggler, how are you going to defend against the Cutty Blue? Run faster, or it's a Cutlass. It's not exactly the toughest thing on the block. But outrun it. Likely what I'll do is run in a Mercury Star Runner, have someone who's a pilot, one of us will be a pilot, and then have somebody else who's on the gunner seat, and have the gunner, the turret use distortion tech. And have the gunner aim for the engines if possible. So in the future, the gunner will disable the engines of the bounty hunter so that they slow down, if not stop, so we can get out of the entanglement range and then jump away. That's the key. You just gotta run. You don't stick around and fight a bounty hunter, especially if they're good. And that's the thing about the Star Runner, is that it has that sweet turret at the top, the 360 turret, which means that you can at least attack people who are coming after you. And if you do distortion weapons, in theory, it should be able to slow down, if not knock out, ship systems. So. The vile king unleashes his horde of horrifying knights. Prepare for doom. Urge to play Ripon Terrorizing. How you doing, Vile? Welcome over to the Vile stream. Welcome to the Astropub, your space bar at the end of Twitch. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. We got a good one for you. The bar. Yeah, good to see you, man. Since you've been here, that is, yeah. So, is the Mantis pointless now? No. The Mantis can still prevent people from jumping away, and it also pulls people out of Quantum. The Blue does not do that. The Blue just prevents people from jumping. The Mantis is a large fleet support ship. Its job, it can do both the jobs that the Cutlass Blue can only do one. The difference is that the Cutlass Blue is more designed around being a solo bounty hunter, or one or two people working as a bounty hunter together. Similar how the Mercury Star Runner is kind of like, it's soloable, but one or two people. How is Star Citizen? I haven't played it since 3.0. Better than 3.0. A lot better than 3.0. This is how do I put this? This is office hours. So it's more of a chill, relaxed discussion stream. I do a little bit of lore. One of the things I do on YouTube is do a lore series called Galactic Historian. And so this is kind of where I kind of bridge those two worlds of YouTube and Twitch, where we sit here, we talk, people ask questions, we have discussions in chat. So mostly centered around Star Citizen. There's still some issues to be worked out. It's still buggy. It still has some major crash problems, but there are almost all of the planets for the current star system is in game. I think they're waiting on one more that's going to come in the end of the year. They've added mining. They've added fleshed out cargo running. All the planets and moons are fully landable. You can go, you fly all the way down, land on them, take off without a loading screen. Which I think was in 3.0, but they actually added planets recently. They have like landing zones. They have semi-persistence. So like if you earn money, it transfers from patch to patch. They still occasionally will have to do wipes, but I think they haven't done a persistence wipe since January, or probably even since November of last year. It's been the same amount of money we've been making this entire time. So you can buy ships in game, you can buy weapons and armor in game, and they persist from patch to patch. You can get money from in game, and that persists from patch to patch, and buy more ships in game, all that kind of stuff. So prisons are added, caves have been added, hand mining has been added, so you don't have to have a ship to mine. You can also mine via just getting a tool and going to a cave and mining through it, or going somewhere else. There's new space stations that have been added that add a little bit more depth to it. They're doing in-game events. Like the game right now has an event called the Invictus Launch Week, which is absolutely free for anybody who wants to try to play the game for right now. It's 100% free for new players. It's rough, difficult to get in because of that, but it's not bad. What's my favorite food and drink combo? IRL or in-game? Roy, will the Carrack be available in game eventually? Yes. All the ships will be available in game eventually. It just depends on how they want to spin it. The show is great. Got you on the tablet and mining in Prospector. Nice, John. Nice. Do you think the Mercury Star Runner can be able to carry some passengers like the Millennium Falcon Star Wars movie? Yeah, maybe a little bit, but I don't think it's gonna be like NPC passengers. How is Orison floating in Crusader's atmosphere? It's never been fully described, but I think it has to do with the nature of the terraformation, because they terraformed the upper atmosphere of the giant, the gas giant. It may also have to do with just thrusters. And it may just be, Columbia. It's just bags of hot air that have been keeping floating. They haven't described it, but it's almost as if like it's breathable, but it's also semi, like you can like float in it. So. Captain Chong up there, yep. Can I say thank you for your knowledge and your time in my queries? Thank you, Addy. Thanks for hanging out. In game, pips and hot dogs are the best ones, I think. Yes, they do have food and drink is in the game now. Still rocking the Mustang? Which Mustang? Connie still need a rework. I don't know if you need a better flight model. People have been saying we need a better flight model, since the last flight model. We just need to stick to a flight model. What really needs to happen is combat needs to become better. Who's my favorite company backstory? Crusader. And who's your favorite character in the verse? Living or dead? John, living or dead? Hey, Cracklin, how you doing? A gas giant has much more dense atmosphere, than it's easier to float than on air than Earth. Also, space magic, yeah. I think the similar reason why people want to build a floating city on Venus is the same reason why they want to have Orison work on people being able to work in Orison. There's 4 Mustangs: the Alpha, the Beta, the Gamma, and the Delta. Technically, there's also the Omega. But the Gamma and the Omega are the same ship with just slightly different reworks. The Alpha is the starter package. So if you just got a starter package and you have a Mustang Alpha, the Beta is the exploration variant of it. It has an internal bed where you can sleep and log out and such. The Gamma is a racing variant, which it doesn't have a cargo bay like the Alpha does. It focuses everything on speed and maneuverability. And then the Delta is the combat variant that doesn't have a cargo bay, but it has rocket pods, dumbfire rocket pods, as well as armor, and a little bit of stealth. Beta was the best Mustang. So yeah, the starter pack is the Alpha, the Mustang Alpha. We used to call the Beta the Bang Stang, because it was like a shaggin' wagon mixed with a Mustang. But then they turned it into the prison Stang. The interiors are so bad now. The S7A Mark II looks better than the other Hornets. Will they bring the Mark II variant to the Super Hornet? There is a chassis upgrade kit that they sold, I think 2014, this time 2014. Memorial Day in 2014 to support a veterans charity. And that they sold very few of them. Very few of them. Essentially, they aren't a military. There's been some discussion on if they're a hard kit update, if it's just basically a conversion kit to turn it into a military Hornet, or if it just makes it look like a military Hornet. It's essentially a body chassis kit to change it to look like a military Hornet. Data later, yeah. Does stealth work in the Cutlass Black? Yes. Stealth works on all ships. So essentially what it does is it prevents you from being on passive sensors for longer. So there's 2 types of sensors. There's active and passive. Active sensors, you have to activate your sensors, you have to charge up the ping and release it, and it releases like kind of like a sonar ping, and then pings back. It doesn't ping back. The idea is that you're able to generally identify someone from, I want to say 10 to 20 kilometers away. Yeah, it's about right. And passive will only pick up if you're not doing stealth, it'll pick up generally about 8 to 10. But someone who is stealthed, depending on the ship and the components they're used, can be reduced down to like 2 kilometers. So it's a huge difference. If you're a stealth ship, you can ambush someone real quick because they don't even know you're there, and you can get the initial shot off. So in theory, you could create a stealth Cutlass, and the advantage would be being able to ambush somebody before they know you're there. You're gonna say deceased now because I'm more curious. Deceased. Favorite characters who are now dead. In the Star Wars universe. It's a hard one. I'm not going to say Space Hitler because that's a bad idea. Ira Messer. He's not my favorite. He's an interesting character, but not my favorite. Anthony Tanaka. Oh, that's the right answer. Anthony Tanaka. He's the most interesting character. My favorite character. Who's dead. Because his death is so important to the universe. And it is such a true to historical reality kind of universe. Yeah. Angel Thump indeed. The ping someone use tab. Yep, you hit tab and then I think left, you hold left or right click on this mouse and you'll see a little bar goes whoop, and then you release it and it goes releases it. The guy who created the jump drive, quantum jump drive. The guy who created the quantum drive was not Croshaw, but yeah, if you're talking about the first jump drive, the first real jump drive that was supposed to work like a jump drive, yeah, Nick Croshaw. Black's supposed to have lower emissions thrusters, including maneuvering main engines that keep its IR lower than the red or blue. That makes sense. Maybe it's probably not stealth though. It's probably just lower. Atlanta's favorite character. I don't think Anthony Tanaka is Atlanta's favorite character. There's only one guy. His name was Nick Croshaw, who modified the quantums to create them. There may be another one that was talked about, but I don't know about the other guy. And Nick Croshaw was not alone. He had a team of engineers who worked with him. The only ship that I'm going to be getting is the Miss, the Freelancer Miss. So. And it's not really a get, it's more of a cross chassis for my dirt. I've been waiting for the Miss to go back on sale so I can complete it. Names escape you. Oh, guys, it has been a blast. You guys rock. Thank you guys so much for raising so much money. We're at $94 for Stack Up. Remember, when we reach $500, we will be giving away a Nova tank. So the Nova, the tank, the archaic way of saying it. The Nova tank will be given away at $500. We'll be doing more fundraising Thursday and Friday. Tomorrow I will be on the Yacht Club. So I won't be here, but I will be at the Yacht Club. So if you guys want to join me there, love to see you there. And for those of you guys who are interested in Galactic Historian, on Thursday we will have the episode for the Gangs of Stanton be released. I got to get it done by tomorrow and then release it for backers on Patreon. So yeah, make sure you guys get in on that. Is your pub going to have a code to get in like a speakeasy to avoid taxes? No, I'm just going to be moving around a lot. It'll be in a ship. Refresh my memory. It's okay. That's what it makes. That's the sound it makes there, John Paul. It's a combination of those two sounds. The golf swing. All right, guys. Again, make sure you guys are hanging out, doing those things. Subscribe. Get in on those Cutlass Blue giveaways that we're doing. Love your faces. Have a good night, guys.